Welcome to Mindflow Radio.
We are creating conscious community by sharing mindful manifesting skills and transcendental music.
We are all in this together. Shivaya. Namah Shivaya, Om 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 Namah Shivaya.
All right. Mindflow Radio.
Mindflow Radio.
Here we are.
Here we are.
She's Jai Lynn.
And he's Monty. And we're here with you sharing contemplations on mindful living.
Gathering at this unique moment in time.
Mm-hmm. One of a kind. Yeah. We're happy because Jeremy made it through COVID.
He did. Thank you, Jeremy, for having a strong and robust immune system. I always had confidence in you.
Yeah.
I heard you spent a lot of time laying around. He's like, well, I don't know. You still had some work to do.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard when you're sick and you've got a long list of things to do and you got to stare at that list and you're like, oh,
little kids.
Man, this list is getting longer and I'm still sitting here.
But he's here now, so thank you.
Yeah,
Jeremy.
we made it. We made it through.
The vid.
The vid.
Jeremy conquered the vid.
Yeah.
Good job.
Yeah. Yeah. What does it mean to have a strong immune system?
Well, according to Gabbard Mate, who's a great teacher, and we just recently took a class with him, but he thinks the key is to have a healthy mind and a healthy mindset, and to be authentic, authentically ourselves, and not
authenticity is super key.
Yeah, and to not be hammering on ourselves.
Yeah, and the interesting thing about that is that he says that a lot of us, most of us, have sacrificed our authenticity because we needed the attachment to our original caretakers. And so those original caretaking patterns have gotten stuck in us as we sacrifice our authenticity.
Well, yeah. I mean, another way of looking at that, it's like our past trauma has like robbed us of our authenticity. And I think he kind of suggests that we've all had trauma, which I believe. You know, I mean, of course.
It forms our way we see the world.
Yeah, and it was interesting because he says that trauma is not the actual event or events that created the trauma, but the trauma we deal with is this scar.
The wound.
Yeah, the wound. And these... Just we all have multiple wounds, I think, and
the goal is to face them, clean them up, let them heal, take time to be authentic in our healing, and then we can have strong immune systems.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I would say so. You know, it's like, I mean, just to another way of looking at it, and we were talking about this earlier, is just if we can just learn to be nice to ourselves and kindness. Each others. Yeah, kindness.
Kindness. It really
kindness
does come
to ourselves.
down to kindness.
It really does. It really does.
And not the kindness that hides the shadows behind us, but the kindness that's authentic.
Right. It's not pretend kindness.
Yeah.
I'm going to be nice to you because
I don't want you to know how much I'm suffering inside.
or how much I really hate you.
Oh, jeez.
You know what I mean?
I don't think
that's like pretend kindness.
Yeah.
You know, I really despise you. I really think you're a lowlife, but I'm going to pretend to be kind to you. Right?
Do you think that happens? I don't think that
All
happens
the
that
time.
often. I think people are fine hating on others.
A lot. It's not very well. It's PC in a way, but it's also PC to pretend like we're kind to each other.
Oh
too.
yeah, and the inclusivity. Oh,
but you're
Lord.
right. In Pretendville, aka Facebook, I mean, it's very PC to be unkind to each other.
Yeah.
And we're trained to believe like that's a positive thing.
So what is kindness, and how do we do this real
That's a
kindness
good question.
thing?
Well, I could tell you what it's not.
Okay.
Kindness is not blame. It's not blaming ourselves or blaming each other. It's not hating on ourselves or hating on others. It's not being fearful of ourselves or others.
Mm-hmm.
You know, kindness is, I would suggest that kindness stems from more of just an overall spiritual or quasi-spiritual outlook, and just that we're all these amazing human creatures.
Seeing the miracle.
Yeah. The miracle in the moment, and
see the good.
Yeah, focusing on the good and understanding we're all wounded creatures.
Uh-huh.
That's like Gabbard says, we're all wounded and we all have a fair amount of trauma. And just our ancestral trauma is just immense.
Mm-hmm.
And all of us have that.
Mm-hmm.
All of us.
Mm-hmm.
And
passed down generation to generation.
Yeah, but it's time in this generation we're trying to pivot. We're trying to take that quantum leap out of the darkness, essentially, of being stuck in our traumas and into the light of our authenticity.
Mm-hmm. I think that a big part of that is seeking wholeness and just being willing to see the separateness that we've been encouraged to be, even by our automatic unconscious.
What do you use wholeness as in
wholeness what? As in, what of me broke off? Where is it?
Oh, you mean in yourself?
Back? In myself and in others.
Yeah.
Being willing to see like the brokenness of others. And one of the classic things that I think is upsetting to probably anyone, and I know that I have been on both sides of this one, but you say something to someone and they hear what they wanted to hear.
Of course.
And they'll turn it around on you and be like, well, this is what you said. And you're like, no, that actually isn't what I said. And they argue it and like, yes, it is what you said. And there's most times we don't have a recording to rewind and say, this is what I actually said. And it could be that neither one of you are right in the actual sense of what was actually said. But this is like a thing that happens in our world now. And you know what I'm talking about.
Well, I mean, even if you had a recording, I mean, if you look at Facebook, your words are recorded.
Yeah.
But
true.
it's almost like we use words differently. I mean, and we spin everything. I mean, when you talk about wholeness, the way I see it too, you're talking about internal wholeness, and that's kind of unifying, integrating all these different aspects of ourselves into one.
Yes.
One authentic being, instead of pretending I'm this way or no, I'm this way or I'm this way. It's like, no, let's just integrate everything and realize that we're all just incredible
and
mystical beings.
I'm also saying that we're in the seeking of wholeness is the understanding of the lack of wholeness. Like you have to be able to acknowledge the lack of wholeness to seek wholeness.
So to be authentic, we have to realize that we're not authentic.
Yeah, there's that.
That's
that for sure.
If wholeness is authenticity, which it probably is.
Yeah.
And
I mean that like in the sense of giving slack to others because maybe they haven't even acknowledged that they're seeking seeking fulfillment, validation on their own story. So when you say something and I hear you wrong,
Yeah.
I'm seeking validation for my own belief system. I'm not hearing you. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean that's a whole new can of worms.
No, that's what I'm talking about.
Okay,
that's what I'm trying to talk about.
You're talking your belief system, your ideas, clinging to your ideas,
which are not whole.
Well, if we cling to our ideas, just in general, that there's a closed mindedness to that, and
unless we're open to taking in new points of view.
Yeah, and having our ideas evolve.
Right.
As like new variables present themselves.
Yeah. And so in seeking wholeness, so to tie this together, so maybe you're on the same page with me. Seeking wholeness is being open to the fact that that's really what we're all need to do, but may not be doing. And if I misunderstood, if I'm misheard, and somebody uses the words to validate their own belief system, that in a way, it's better for me to just acknowledge that in my own head. Like, I don't need to say, hey, you're validating your own belief system because your unconscious is hiding wounds. Like, I don't need to say that. But if I am willing to acknowledge that, then I have compassion and I have kindness for them because okay, I get it. You are still in your samskara. In yoga, that's called the groove, your pattern, your unconscious groove.
Yeah.
And I'm going to seek my wholeness, and I'm not going to let your samskara bother me. Does that make sense now?
Yeah, it does.
So, what is kindness? Because you said what kindness isn't.
Oh, what is kindness? Kindness is... Well, it's definitely related to love. Mm-hmm. You know, it's a feeling. It's an energetic reality. It's to me, it comes from a place of balance and wonder, and I don't know, seeing the light or seeing the spirit in us all. Mm-hmm. I guess, and understanding cool. We're all wounded and we all have our issues. Mm-hmm. And not getting too caught up in various ideas. Like you said, everybody's got their stories and their idea and their philosophies, whether we know it or not, we all have our philosophies, you know. Mm-hmm. And if somebody's philosophy is to, let's say, I believe everything that they say on NPR. That's my philosophy. I need to be okay with that.
Yes.
You know,
totally.
And say, okay, well, that's cool. That's your philosophy, and that's all right. You know, because we all have our philosophies, and mm-hmm. and that's where kindness comes in. Is just like understanding that, and instead of me condemning somebody, instead of me blaming people, I just cut them slack and see the good and understand that if we're going to evolve, it's going to be because we're kind to each other.
I agree.
I mean, and if you look at it, if we actually develop the philosophy of kindness, if humanity moved in that direction, you'd see there wouldn't be any more people starving in the world,
right?
Because we'd be like, oh, that's unacceptable. Mm-hmm. These people, let's feed them. Let's bring the military in and feed them. You know, boom. And there wouldn't be any more wars. Mm-hmm. I mean, if we could, you know, because of course we're not going to bomb people. Because we care about them.
Mm-hmm. And they can have their own belief systems. We don't need them to agree with us.
No, I'm not going to.
As long as it's in the realm of kindness.
Well, and if they're not in the realm of kindness, the reality of it is, I believe that they have to pay their own karma. I mean, they create karma.
Sure, but that doesn't mean we have to hurt them.
No, it's not up to us to like give them their karma.
But at the same time, and this kind of leads into the piece that I feel is so important. Yeah. We can't leave ourselves vulnerable on purpose, knowing that we very much could be the target. Yeah, no, we need to be strong and united and protect ourselves for sure. Mm-hmm. What for sure. I think is so cool, in my opinion, is the idea of a really good fighter is not angry. They're not aggressive. I mean, they might be aggressive. They're more of assertive, like, I know what to do.
Yeah,
I know what to do.
It's true.
You come in my bubble,
Yeah.
the game is on.
Absolutely. Absolutely. For
but
sure.
It's not like I'm going to hurt you. It's not.
Because I hate you.
Yeah.
It's no, I'm just going to do. It is true. The best UFC fighters are not angry. They're very skilled.
They're skilled.
They're skilled. They're present. They're very connected. And if you look at some of these fighters when they get done fighting, there's a lot of them, the best ones. There is some like level of almost love between them. Even though they're doing their job, what they consider to be they respect each other for sure. Yeah, and that's like another level. That's another component of kindness is respect for sure.
And I think a super big part is not being passive, not being like, I'm kind to you, therefore you can do whatever you want to me. You can call me whatever you want.
Yeah, right.
You can send me whatever negative vibes you want because I'm just going to be kind. There's a line. There's a line.
That's very true.
Where is that line?
That line is, I mean, you just have to use your intuition, I guess.
Yeah.
And if you feel like somebody is being unkind, if I feel like somebody's being unkind to me, I just have the tendency to want to like get them out of my life, and just kind of.
You mean like on a regular, every time you see them, it's the same?
Well, yeah. Or if somebody's being unkind, I'll be like, okay, I just don't want to be around you. It's kind of like it's a boundary. I'm not going to surround myself. I'm going to surround myself with people who essentially are kind. And that's one of the beautiful things about our group is we all have this. We're very diverse in ways, but we respect each other. We're not judging each other for every single whatever difference we have.
Right.
We're kind.
I mean,
so I guess maybe kindness emanates from respect.
Yeah, and so I think first and foremost, you have to have a foundation of personal respect, self-respect, self-kindness.
Yes.
Because I think that's, okay, I just had some flashes.
Uh-oh.
What I think is so interesting is many of us don't want to pass on the abuse. And so then we are very kind and generous and helpful to others. And maybe they respect it and maybe they don't. Maybe they're kind and maybe they're not. But if we could first and foremost put our kindness to ourselves above everything else.
Yeah.
And then there's the line again, the idea of narcissism and thinking that we're awesome or I can't think of the word, but so there's all these boundaries that cross over each other and how to remain kind.
Well, narcissists are not very kind people.
To themselves they are.
I don't know. They have a desire to feel superior to everybody. I don't know. I don't think that's very kind to ourselves either because it's like not based in reality, the reality of the human condition, So they're like not kind to themselves, but they're striving to be superior, I guess.
Okay, so then I wonder if what is the list of how to be kind to yourself?
Well, yeah. Well, I there probably is. I mean, a part of. And that's a great point, that it all starts with ourselves. I mean, it's almost like we get in the habit of being kind to ourselves, and then it's easy to be kind to other people. If we're in the habit of, and vice versa.
I think I know a lot of people who are kind to others but not kind to themselves. And I feel like I'm pretty kind to people personally. Yeah. And I have a real habit of self-loathing that after this retreat with Gabor Mate, I realized that I've really got to face that. Okay. So I think that for a lot of people, they can appear kind, they can be kind, they can actually not judge other people, but to themselves is another story. So it doesn't always reflect like that, in my opinion. Like, yes, when I learn how to be kind to myself, I imagine that I'll be even more kind to others and maybe even speak more truth and be able to have healthy boundaries and healthy ways of sharing with others that helps them be kind to themselves and reflect on their personal ways of being in the world kindly. But at this time, being kind to people out in the world has not made me be kind to myself.
Well, I think, even though there is some, like you had just mentioned, that you feel like you have some self-loathing. I think we all have some of that, by the way. But, if kindness is respect, I do see you respecting yourself in a lot of ways too. And you may have moments of, the negative self-talk and all that, like the self-loathing. But in general, I think you are fairly respectful to yourself, which is kindness. And I think you need to look at, it's a continuum. Again, it's a continuum. How much do we respect ourselves? How much do we disrespect ourselves?
Yeah.
And I would say you're
that's interesting.
Yeah.
And that kind of also goes to our hardwired pieces where to deal with dangerous situations, we remember the bad stuff faster and easier than we remember the good stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
It's a, I don't know the right word, a neurobiological fact that's just what we do because
we need to survive.
We need to remember that berry killed my friend.
Yeah, or that
like
those tigers,
that mushroom. It's like we have to remember the bad so that we can survive. But now in the world, we remember, like you're saying, I remember when I'm disrespectful to myself faster and more often than I remember
when you're good to yourself.
That I'm nice to myself too.
When you respect yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that can just be habitual. If we try and follow the philosophy of seeing the good, and we have our philosophies, but we can strive for other philosophies.
Yeah,
right?
Totally.
And we want to strive for that.
That's the wholeness piece, I think.
Okay.
Because you're like striving for the philosophies that will help you.
Yeah, we're striving, to be authentic.
Mm-hmm.
To find that authenticity. And I don't know, we need to see, and I'm a realist. I believe I'm a realist. We need to see the positive and the negative in everything, in every situation, in every moment, in every, but if we're going to change the world to be a better place, my suggestion and my philosophy is to support the positive. And the same comes true with ourselves. If I notice, I did some self-loathing there, I'm not going to try and focus on that because that's just going to perpetuate itself. But I'll be like, oh, well, I did some of that, but now I'm going to the gym and I'm trying to eat right. So I'm trying to really respect myself as well, and get more focused on that. And, I don't know, just developing more that internal habit. And I do think that the internal and external habits are related, like the mind habit of judging myself and judging others. I think it's related, and because I do think the mind is, just as we as humans, we're creatures of habit. It all starts in our minds. Our minds are habitual entities, and we're just trying to we're trying to improve our habits, our mental habits and our physical habits. That's my trip. That's where I'm at.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to do.
And I feel for myself, the mindful trick that is coming to mind for me is taking that time to pause and taking that time to meditate, taking that time to breathe and focus and just be like, all right, I need my daily time off, my
Yeah.
time out, my, what do you call it? Well, I call it meditation personally.
Well, it's almost like a little retreat.
Yeah, it's the pause. It's the pause from the daily cycles that we have done for our whole life. These, I must work hard. I must work hard. If I don't work hard, no one will approve of me. I don't deserve love if I don't work hard. I mean, these are my own patterns.
Yeah.
And you know what? F that. I'm not working hard. I'm going to sit down, and I deserve some peace right now, and I'm giving it to myself.
Yeah.
So it's like a disruption of the old pattern. And to disrupt that pattern and say, I deserve peace right now.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like the moment of claiming your authentic wholeness, which says, I need a break in my mind, and I'm going to give it to myself because I'm an adult now and I don't have any, I'm not a child under somebody's order and I have to listen to everything they say.
Right. Well, and in doing so, you're creating new habits.
Right. Exactly. And you kind of that more...
So you're evolving.
Yeah.
As a human. You're becoming more and more authentic.
Yeah.
If you follow that pattern.
Yeah. And that's why I personally feel that daily practice is so important, because it's saying, I am worth new patterns. And the only way I can have new patterns is if I let go of the old ones or disrupt them for even just for a moment, to momentarily disrupt the old patterns and say, I deserve to be at peace for 5 minutes. And I'm going to give that to myself right now. It usually takes longer than 5 minutes, but just to say,
Yeah.
And that's my big thing when I work with people, my students, my clients, is a must. If you want to progress, you must sit. And I personally don't say you must sit in silence. I personally share focus words, mantras, because as a person who seriously suffers from PTSD, seriously, I cannot just sit in silence. It does not work for me. I feel like that's very advanced to tell anyone to sit in silence. And I think it's great for people if they can sit in silence. But for me, I tell people you need a mantra, you need focus words, you need something that you can repeat in your mind that's good for you, that can disrupt the thought patterns, but not leave you sitting there going, what do I do with all these weird thoughts in my head?
Well, and another way of looking at that is, we all have this chatter in our minds. And the chatter consists of old habits of thinking that just keep reoccurring and reoccurring. You're saying disrupt that with a mantra, which blurts out the pattern. I mean the chatter, which quiets down the chatter because you're creating your own. You're deciding.
I'm in charge.
You're in charge. Not your old thoughts are running you. It's like, no, you are in charge of what's happening in your mind.
Absolutely.
At that point. So there's a shift. And at that point, you are authentic because that's your authentic self, the projector of the thoughts. The thoughts are just habits. That's not you. And these thoughts are based on ideas, but you are the projector of the thoughts. And through taking control of your thoughts, you're identifying with that projector, which is the authentic you.
Awesome.
So good job. See, that's why you're moving so quickly towards enlightenment. I see.
He's funny, let me tell you.
She's going to get there.
Yeah, we'll get there someday.
That's what Buddha says. We all get there someday.
Sometimes I go, is there any chance that I'm ever going to heal? But, I don't know. I think sometimes I just got to accept the pain, which I think I'm doing pretty well.
Okay.
But someday, my biggest prayer is to be pain-free someday.
Yeah.
And yet I'm getting older and older every day. And I'm like, is this possible? Is it possible to be pain-free?
So would Gabor Mate say the way to achieve a physical pain-free life is through achieving mental pain-free existence.
Well, he did say something about it. I can't remember exactly what he said, but I think he said he used to think there was really no hope for himself.
Yeah.
And then one day he had an epiphany that there actually is, and that even though he's done so much work, that he should just keep the hope that he might actually heal before passing. And in yoga, that's called Jiva Mukta. And it means to awaken before death. And that's really what we're looking for. But do I need to not have pain to awaken? I don't think that, like, this is what I was going through yesterday, is like, do I need to be pain-free to actually awaken, or as you say, enlightenment? And I don't know, I'm coming to some peace with the pain, but you can only do so much while you're in pain. So it's just like interesting, because it's like, how do I be kind to this? How do I be kind to the pain when I just want to kick its butt and throw it out of my body? But how do you do that? You can't. You can't take this sensation that makes you writhe sometime and physically assault it. Like, though I want to, I can't. And that's not being kind, is it?
Yeah. I mean, that's an interesting question, right? Do you need to love the pain for it to diminish?
I don't know.
It's just an interesting question.
It reminds me of some weird movie that I only saw a few minutes because it scared the crap out of me, and I don't know what it was called. But the guy drilled a hole in his head because he wanted the voices to stop, and he lived through it. That's all I remember from the movie. I left the room for the rest. But you know, that's kind of how I feel. Like, I just wish I could just grab in there and pull it out and pummel it. But that's self-anger right there, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, but you think of it, this pain issue, and it's from fibromyalgia, right?
Yeah.
And sending that love. I don't know exactly how to do that, but it's worth pondering. It's worth pondering at the very least.
Yeah. And it's very interesting to even ponder it right now, because I've never really thought about the fact that how much I hate the pain.
Yeah, right. And
I do.
Somehow finding respect for that pain. You know?
Yeah, I think it'd be easier to just try to be kind to it than to respect it, honestly. Like, how do you...
But is easy always the way? You know, that's the question.
I don't know. I mean, we were talking about kindness.
Yeah.
And I don't know, this epiphany just happened. But
yeah, we did talk about how respect plays a role in kindness, though.
Yeah.
But to be continued.
To be continued. Yeah, I'll tell you what the next epiphany is. Who knows? I'm going to start trying to share those as much as possible, because they're valid, and we're all suffering and we're all healing.
It's true. We all have various degrees of pain, both emotionally and physically. You know, most of us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and if the goal is to be our authentic selves again,
yes,
and the goal is to be kind to ourselves, our old patterns, while we assert new patterns. That sounds like pretty... I mean, it's definitely an adventure.
It is. It is. And I mean, in reality, 100 years goes by like a flash of lightning anyway. So there's that too, that kind of perspective of this is a temporary, we're spiritual beings having a temporary human experience right now. Mm-hmm. And just having that perspective and trying our best and moving towards being authentic. I guess that's the message of this podcast.
Yeah. Today's podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you to our listeners. You are in our community with us. And I know that you are on the journey of healing and wholeness. And we appreciate that, because I believe in the 100th monkey. And the more each of us is working on this, the more we are affecting the vibration of the whole populace on this earth.
It's true.
So, yeah, keep it up. And
Yeah.
community is really important. That's definitely one of the big points of healing is knowing who you can talk to, knowing who you can trust, knowing that you can be vulnerable, knowing that you'll be heard,
Yeah.
knowing that you can listen. So that's what we're all doing. We're healing our ability to be social. We're healing our ability to be kind to ourselves.
Yeah.
And we're in this together.
It's true.
And
and just part of respecting ourselves too is understanding what the kind of vibration we want to be a part of, and surrounding ourselves with people of that similar vibration, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
And that's part of respect, and that's what we're doing right here. We're just gathering and we're connecting, and we are all in this together.
Mm-hmm.
And
we're sharing our adventure with you.
And yeah.
And we would love to hear from you, so you can comment.
And we are
can
part
reach out.
of the love rebellion.
Yeah. We rebel all that crap and just love each other anyway.
All right.
Yeah.
Right.
So we have one more song for you, and it's one of Monty's favorites. So we're going to do some shifting, and we'll share some more. And I wish for you some joy on your adventure of healing, and be well.
Yeah, peace of mind. So this song is Hare Krishna in 5/4. I'd like to dedicate it to Tulsi Gabbard, one of our favorite peace warriors.
Yeah.
Peaceful warrior, right there.
She's got it. Hare